Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another episode of TEW 2020 WWE, and we are continuing on in January here, week 2, as the road to WrestleMania, and especially its first stop, the Royal Rumble, as we start things off as ever with Monday Night Raw, and as usual, with the Undisputed Era in the ring, Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and the WWE Champion Adam Cole, baby. And Adam Cole is not happy about last week's result. Kevin Owens winning the main event, meaning Royal Rumble will be Adam Cole, Kevin Owens for the WWE title. Adam Cole says he beat Kevin Owens. He's done with him. Why is he fighting him again? Thanks to the ineptitude of Drake Maverick, he has allowed this to happen. Adam Cole says he beat Kevin Owens in June. He beat him at Money in the Bank. The Undisputed Era beat him into a hospital bed in August. And then just last month, War Games, Undisputed Era, Adam Cole says he beat Kevin Owens again. Why does Kevin Owens keep coming back for more when Adam Cole is just going to beat his ass all over again, I ask you? And Adam Cole says that, you know what, if this is what Kevin wants, then fine. But Adam says, come the Royal Rumble. If Kevin Owens gets injured again, if he has to go sit in a hospital bed or go sit his lazy fat ass on his couch at home, then that will be the best case scenario for him, because Adam Cole says he is going to do whatever it takes to make sure he never has to deal with Kevin Owens again. For an 86, when Kevin Owens does come out, and Kevin Owens says Adam can say what he wants. You know, he can talk about June and August, but I mean, let's talk about December. I mean, that was much more recent. That was December, wasn't it, last month? And what happened? Oh, yeah. Kevin Owens beat Adam Cole one-on-one. Not a multi-man match, one-on-one. And then you want to talk about War Games, but you didn't win War Games, Adam, did you? No, Kyle won it. Kyle pinned Daniel Bryan to win War Games whilst you were laying in pain. Kyle got that pin. Kyle got that win. So don't try and take that. I mean, come to think of it, Adam, a real leader would have got that pin, wouldn't he? So maybe it shouldn't be you leading the Undisputed Era. Maybe it shouldn't be you with the WWE Championship around your waist. Maybe it should be Kyle O'Reilly, Adam. And Adam Cole, not impressed by this insults from Kevin Owens. And Adam Cole saying that Kyle O'Reilly's great. Of course he is. The Undisputed Era only accepts the best. And so it's no surprise Kyle O'Reilly is an elite talent. And Adam Cole saying Kyle's so elite. Then a few weeks' time in the Royal Rumble, he's entering and he's going to win the whole damn thing. And you know what more? He's going to win the whole damn thing entering at number 1. And Kyle O'Reilly, I mean, he was looking very happy at all this praise he was getting, but he kind of has to do a double take and give that WTF face at Adam Cole, as Adam Cole says Kyle O'Reilly will be entering at number 1 in the Royal Rumble. Really good opening segments here. Very much looking forward to Adam Cole, Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble in their big blow-off match for a 100 segment rating. These guys really good on the mic. You already knew that though, didn't you? As then we go backstage to an interview with Tommaso Ciampa. And Kayla Braxton asks him about last week, about Johnny Gargano, and Ciampa says that Johnny's amazing. He knows that they're like brothers. They have so much history together. Even recent history, recently as last year, tag team champions. But Johnny needed to know that on Monday nights, there's only one champion around here, and it's not him. It's not Adam Cole. It's not Drew or Sheamus, who I beat at Armageddon. It's Tommaso Ciampa for a 70. What Tommaso Ciampa? And speaking of McIntyre and Sheamus, the Celtic Warriors, they then storm in and attack Ciampa for a 71. They just stomp him out here. Obviously, not impressed with him beating them all again, in his words, only them now attacking him for a 71. Good opening start to the show here. Before we have the first match of this evening as Sami Zayn takes on The Miz, with, of course, the fabulous Frederick Fairchild at ringside as usual. And in the end, Frederick Fairchild inadvertently, or maybe even advertently, providing a bit of a distraction to Sami Zayn, which allows The Miz to hit him with the skull-crushing finale from behind and pick up the win for a 76. Good match. 80 Zayn, 69 Miz. Happy with this, as The Miz gets the win. Fairchild maybe helping him, maybe not. Who even knows what's happening with Fairchild and The Miz? I don't even know if they know. Before we go backstage to Drake Maverick, Kyle O'Reilly knocking at his office door, saying he wants to see him, and Maverick says that him, Paige and Regal, they've been going back and forth about the Rumble, and they're all so relieved to hear Kyle O'Reilly volunteer to enter at number 1, and Kyle says, I definitely did not volunteer to enter at number 1, and Drake says that, well, Adam did, and that gave me an idea anyway. Tonight in the main event, it's going to be Kevin Owens versus Kyle O'Reilly, and if you lose, then you will be entering at number 1 in the Royal Rumble. Kyle O'Reilly, not happy about that for a 66. He's got to beat Kevin Owens if he doesn't want to be number 1. We'll see how that goes in the main event later. But for now, it's time for the MVP Lounge. And MVP saying that the MVPs have been disappointing. They haven't been getting the job done. So it's time for some changes to be made. And he says the first change is some rebrand. And he says the MVPs are no more. And for henceforth and evermore, they will be known as the Hurt Business. Changing the name to the Hurt Business. I just like the Hurt Business name, so changing it to that. MVP says with a new name, with a new branding, it's time for some new signings. And so he announces the newest signings of the Hurt Business. First of all, a former NFL offensive tackle for the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the New England Patriots. Ladies and gentlemen, Dio Madden. And Dio Madden makes his way out, joining the Hurt Business in the ring. And MVP says, secondly, I want to introduce you to a professional bodybuilder, a former NFL draftee, a giant, standing at 6 feet 8 inches tall, ladies and gentlemen, Ezra Judge. And Ezra Judge, all 6 feet 8 of him, makes his way out to the ring, joining the Hurt Business here. And then he says, last but certainly not least, the newest member of the Hurt Business, a former NFL offensive tackle for the Indianapolis Colts, the St. Louis Rams, the New England Patriots, and the Atlanta Falcons, standing at 6 feet 5 inches and 309 pounds of pure, unadulterated pain for his opposition. Ladies and gentlemen, Moose. As the final new member of the Hurt Business, Moose makes his debut and his way to the ring here. And MVP says, with new branding, with new signings, well, it's pretty crowded in this ring. So MVP says he thinks it's time to get rid of the dead weight around here. And it's at that point that Bobby Lashley grabs Cedric from behind, locking him in the Hurt Lock. Cedric writhing in pain. Ricochet goes to help him when he's promptly attacked by Madden, Judge, and Moose. Beating him down, Madden picking him up and throwing him into the corner, hitting him with a Nico knee before tossing him into Ezra Judge, who grabs him round the throat and lifts him up well over 6 feet in the air, hitting a massive chokeslam onto him before Angelo Dawkins finally lifts Ricochet up. He's groggy, he's stumbling, and Moose is getting ready in the corner before hitting a massive spear onto Ricochet, take him out, Ricochet out cold on the mat, and Cedric wanting to help but unable to, as he also eventually fades as well here to Bobby Lashley's Hurt Lock for an 87. A new name, new branding, new members, and old members out. The Hurt Business are here and they want to make an impact. And a lot of big guys here who would be able to, you think. I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. 87 for that segment, happy with that. For next up we have Bayley taking on Carmella. Bayley returning last week, setting her sights on Sasha Banks' Women's World title, and makes a move towards a title match, you think, with an 81 here as she gets the win over Carmella. 81 for her, 60 Carmella, doing well. After the match, Sasha Banks tries to attack Bayley, who reverses it into the Bayley to belly, which Sasha Banks manages to wiggle out of, quickly rolling out the ring and running up the ramp. Bayley setting her sights on her former best friend Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks, you think, maybe her toughest challenge as champ to date for a 90. Another really good segment. The show really ticking along, as we have a tag match next up. The Royal Tag Champs, the Celtic Warriors, taking on the Broserweights, as well as Ciampa in this feud. It's been going for a while now, and now Celtic Warriors and Broserweights tag team action here. But speaking of Ciampa, his music hits and he comes out onto the ramp. Drew McIntyre, the legal man, calling for him to come down. Ciampa doing that little wave of his, as Drew McIntyre does not notice Pete Dunne sneaking up behind him and rolling him up for the 1-2-3. The Broserweights beating the Raw Tag Team Champs here for a 75. Good match. 83 Riddle, 79 Drew, 77 Pete, 64 Sheamus. Sheamus off his game, but still Good match, good rating. Happy with this. As after the match, the Celtic Warriors, pissed off at the bottom of the ramp, begin their way up the ramp when the music of the Intercontinental Champion Johnny Gargano hits, and he walks onto the stage next to Ciampa. The Celtic Warriors stopping as Ciampa looks surprised at Gargano. Gargano looks over to Ciampa, and they both nod at each other before turning their attention to the Celtic Warriors and storming down to him as the Celtic Warriors storm up, meeting in the middle and just brawling it out. All four of these men champions, of course, fighting out here for the 89. It's definitely not done between Ciampa and the Celtic Warriors, and Gargano joining Ciampa's fight against them here. As next up, there is a promo from Edge, and Edge announces he will be in the Rumble. He says 2 years ago he returned at the Rumble, and last year he wasn't there. But last year he still main evented WrestleMania. He won the WWE title, and that's what he's going to do again. He says he's going to win the Royal Rumble for the second time of his career. He's going to go to the main event of WrestleMania, and he's going to win back his WWE Championship, because that is the only way. Edge says that there have been road bumps, there have been distractions, but now he is focused. Now his eyes are set on what they should be, the WWE Championship again. And come the Rumble, he will win, and come WrestleMania, he will leave exactly as he did last year, with his WWE Championship around his waist. For another 100. The promos tonight have been superb. Edge, amazing work with this promo heading towards the Rumble. As next up we have the main event with Rumble implications on the line. Kevin Owens versus Kyle O'Reilly. If Kyle O'Reilly loses, he will enter at number 1 in the Royal Rumble. Both men giving it all they got. Kevin Owens wanting to beat another member of the Undisputed Era. Kyle O'Reilly really not wanting to enter at number 1 in the Royal Rumble. But in the end, Kevin Owens hitting a stunner onto Kyle O'Reilly. Kevin's covering him for a 1 and a 2 before he's dragged out of the ring by Fish and Strong. Kevin Owens fighting off against them before Adam Cole hits Owens with a big super kick, causing a disqualification here. As Kevin Owens wins by DQ for a 94. Really good matchup between these two guys. Kevin getting the DQ win, 91 for him, 86 for Kyle O'Reilly. As afterwards, the UE beat him down. Strong and Fish and Adam Cole attacking Kevin Owens, in the end standing tall over him. Adam Cole wins WWE Championship, whilst Kyle O'Reilly sits in the ring looking on as the realization he will be entering at number 1 in the Rumble seems to well and truly kick in for an 84. Really good work to end this show. Really good segments and matches all night. Overall, Raw getting a 96 here. Those two 100s really helped to that, I think, as well as the 94 main event. Really happy with this. Really good episode of Raw. 55 increased up in 55 regions. I'm very happy. And hopefully we can continue this momentum and these good ratings next up with another episode of NXT. And NXT gets underway here with Chad Gable, the NXT champion, shown arriving at the arena, and he is stopped by Caleb Braxton. Caleb Braxton asks him about tonight, his match with Thatcher, and Gable says that he is focused and he is ready. He doesn't have time to talk because tonight he gets his hands on Thatcher, and for what Thatcher did to Orton, for what Thatcher did to Regal, Gable says he's going to enjoy getting to fight Thatcher tonight for a 100, another 100 rated segment. The promos this week, top notch so far, as Chad Gable makes his intentions clear. He's looking forward to fighting Thatcher. He's got that match tonight. He demanded it, and it will happen. But first of all, we stay backstage to Candice LeRae talking to Cora Jade, and Candice LeRae says she's got a match tonight. She can't team with Cora Jade in her tag match, but it's okay, because much like Candice LeRae is training Cora Jade, she has found another superstar to train, and she introduces the newest signing of WWE and NXT here, Annie Cooper, aka Sky Blue, making her NXT debut here, and later tonight she'll make her in-ring debut, teaming with Cora Jade against Team Ninja, Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter for a 48. Good segment. Annie Cooper making her debut here. Before we have Candice LeRae in action in that match that's stopping her from being in the tag match later. Candice LeRae taking on Mickie James one-on-one. Last week they were in the triple threat with Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox got the win, and now the two losers from that triple threat going head to head. LeRae versus James, and in the end Candice LeRae picks up the win after a distraction from Indy Hartwell allowed her to hit Mickie James with the Heartbreaker for the victory for a 61 Good match. 59 LeRae, 48 James. Happy with this. Indy Hartwell distracting James, turning her attention back to James here following Mickie James's betrayal and attack of her towards the end of December, making her intentions clear. And after the match, Indy taunting an angry James. This is far from done between these two for a 61 here. Good segment. As then we go backstage to an interview with Austin Theory, interviewed by Kayla Braxton, not Caden Carter. Austin Theory, very happy. He says last week he beat Cesaro, he shocked the world, he showed everybody what he can do, what he's capable of, and he says he's going to do that again. At the end of the month, he's officially announcing his participation in the Royal Rumble, and he says he's going all the way, he's going to win the Rumble, and he's going to go to WrestleMania and win the WWE Championship when he's interrupted by Legado, the tag champs Santos Escobar and Humberto Carrillo especially, and Escobar says that Theory only won because Legado helped him, because Legado distracted Cesaro, and yet he's getting really ahead of himself right here in Austin Theory, saying that with or without them he'd have beat Cesaro, and he says that if Escobar doesn't shut his mouth he'll beat him too. They kind of square up. Humberto says leave it in the ring, and so later we will get Austin Theory taking on Santos Escobar one-on-one for a 69. Good segment. Before we have that earlier mentioned tag team match. The team of Cora Jade and Annie Cooper making her debut, dubbed as, I believe, Next Gen, with the N, X, and T of Next capitalized because really cool. And taking on Team Ninja, Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. And in the end, Next Gen pick up the win. Annie Cooper hitting Caden Carter with a standing Shiranui to pick up the win on her debut for a 45. Good segment. 50 Casey, 44 Caden, 45 Cora, and the 29 for the debuting Sky Blue. Very happy with this. Very good matchup here as Next Gen make an impact on their first match. Annie Cooper getting the pin in her debut as well. Before we go backstage to Kayla Braxton now interviewing Timothy Thatcher, and she asks him about tonight, and Tim and Thatcher laughs, saying that last week he could have destroyed Regal if he wanted to, but this is even better because he's getting his hands on Regal's golden goose. Chad, Gable, and Thatcher saying he's going to enjoy breaking Gable piece by piece, limb from limb. And well, when he's done with Gable, just like his good friend Randy Orton, he won't be around here anymore for a 59. Good segment here from Thatcher. Big main event between those two later, looking forward to it, as then a promo plays between Raquel Gonzalez and Tegan Nox. They'll be fighting for the NXT Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble. Raquel Gonzalez says, just like Tegan Nox in the triple threat match they had, she's going to deal with both of them. She's going to deal with Tegan at the Rumble, retain her title, and Tegan Nox says she fought long enough to get to the NXT Women's Championship. She lost it to Lynch at SummerSlam, but she kept fighting. She kept going, and come War Games, she pinned Raquel Gonzalez. She says she knows she can pin Raquel Gonzalez. And she says come the Rumble, she'll do it again. She'll pin Gonzalez, and she'll win back her NXT Women's Championship for a 75. Really good segment between these two. Looking forward to that NXT Women's title match come the Royal Rumble. As next up we have a tag team match. It is destined for greatness. DFG, Eli Cassidy and Marcus Redden taking on the team of Isaiah Swerve Scott and the Velveteen Dream, with Dexter Loomis ringside for Dream and Scott, and Carmelo Hayes, Jade Cargill, Trick Williams, and Anthony Ogogo at ringside for DFG. And in the end, it is DFG picking up the win, with Redden and Cassidy hitting Scott with the gin and juice, and Cassidy picking up the win for a 79. Amazing match between these guys. Really happy with that. 77 Dream, 63 Redden and Cassidy, 61 Scott. No complaints on my end. As a bit of a brawl breaks out after the match between the DFG members and Scott, Dream, and Loomis, and it ends with Anthony Ogogo getting in the ring and Anthony Ogogo going for Dream, but Dream ducks it, and in the end Ogogo ends up hitting Scott instead, knocking him clean out after he had just gotten up from being hit with the gin and juice, right into that knockout punch from Anthony Ogogo. And then Dream and Loomis leaving before it gets any worse. 66 of that, good segment. DFG coming out on top once again, and Anthony Ogogo making an immediate impression here in his first in-ring appearance of sorts. He didn't wrestle, but he was in the ring for the first time, knocking out Isaiah Swerve Scott. Happy with this. As then next up we have the earlier mentioned Austin Theory taking on Santos Escobar. Legado joining him at ringside, and in the end Cesaro's music hits and he comes out onto the stage before storming down, going for Andrade, going for Carrillo, fighting with them, distracting Santos Escobar and allowing Austin Theory to roll him up for the victory for a 62. 67 on Escobar, 64 Theory. Happy with this. Austin Theory getting the win over one half of the Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions, keeping that momentum going as he is the big beneficiary so far of this little ongoing feud between Legado and Cesaro. And after the match, just like last week, Austin Theory wildly celebrating, whilst this time it's Cesaro taunting Andrade for a 78. Yeah, pleased with that. Good show so far, and hopefully a good end to it next up with the main event. The NXT champion in action, Chad Gable taking on Timothy Thatcher. Thatcher injuring Randy Orton at NXT TakeOver War Games. Chad Gable's mentor, of course, going for Regal last week. Chad Gable intervening and wanting this match instead of any other sanction for Thatcher. Gable versus Thatcher, and in the end, Chad Gable gets the win by disqualification, much like against Orton. Thatcher locking in the Fujiwara armbar, Chad Gable getting to a rope, but Thatcher just refusing to release the hold, keeping it in on Gable. The referee calling for the DQ in the end for an 88. Really, really happy with that. This match was set up as a technical masterclass, and it definitely succeeded at that with an 88. These two, I knew they could do a technical masterclass, and they've done it brilliantly. The 88, really, really good, as Thatcher keeps that hold on, and security, road agents and refs have to come out. In the end, William Regal storming out to the ring again and dragging Thatcher out of the ring and off Gable, and Thatcher, without a second thought, unleashes a big right hand right into the face of William Regal, laying him out before road agents separate them as well. Medics checking on William Regal and Chad Gable. Thatcher losing by DQ, but standing tall to end things here for a 77. Really good end to the show. What a main event between Gable and Thatcher as well, as this episode of NXT gets an 89. Really happy with that. The 88 main event and that 100 opening promo from Chad Gable as well, really helping to that good rating. 89 overall, with an increase in pop in 14 regions. Really pleased. Raw and NXT going really well, both getting really high ratings, and hopefully we can end the week with another high rated show with a new episode of Friday Night Smackdown. And Friday Night Smackdown begins with Kayla Braxton knocking on Thaddeus Bullard, the Universal Champion's door, and he doesn't answer it, but Paul Heyman does, and Kayla asks to speak to Thaddeus Bullard about Keith Lee, about last week, what happened after Keith Lee's match as well, the smoke, and Heyman says that Mr. Bullard is very busy, but he'll answer her questions, and then Heyman just takes the mic, and he explains that last week Keith Lee defeated Cameron Grimes, which, okay, but I do hope that Keith Lee does not begin to believe that defeating Cameron Grimes in any way, shape, or form qualifies him to take on Mr. Bullard. And, I mean, he's not even going to get that far, is he? Because later tonight, Apollo Crews is taking on Keith Lee, and, well, Mr. Bullard would like me to assure you that Apollo Crews will be defeating Keith Lee and ending this little fairy tale of his once and for all. And even more gold is on its way to the Bullard brand as LA Knight and Socrates Torres. Socrates Torres, of course, one half of Spanish Fly, who was so unjustly stripped of their SmackDown tag titles. Well, tonight, Knight and Torres will be fighting in a qualifier for that fatal four-way SmackDown tag title match at the Royal Rumble, and I assure you they will be winning that qualifier, and they will be winning those SmackDown tag team titles come the Royal Rumble. And when the Bullard brand is back to its full strength with its gold around its waist, once Cruz has dealt with Lee and then gone off and took the United States title away from the waist of that fantasist Xavier Woods, when the Bullard brand stand tall with all the gold once again heading into WrestleMania, none of this, none of the smoke, none of the mirrors, none of the fantasies from people like Lee will matter. All that will matter is all that matters, and that is the Bullard brand. For a 91, Paul Heyman doing very well on the mic, which, not a surprise really. Before next up, we have Bronson Reed taking on King Corbin. Bronson Reed looking to continue building momentum heading into the Royal Rumble, and he does here. Bronson Reed picking up the win over Corbin with the Tsunami for an 80. Another really good match. Reed putting on some really good matches, 77 for Reed, 66 for Corbin. Very happy with this after the match. Samoa Joe coming down to the ring to stare down with Reed again. The two men have a little bit of a one-upmanship going on here, but they do get a little bit distracted with each other, and it allows Corbin to smash his scepter into the back of Reed's head, and Reed stumbles forward into Joe, taking both men down, him and Ace Austin. Ace Austin with a weapon in hand as well, attacking Reed and Joe, and standing tall here. Not standing tall over Reed and Joe, of course. They quickly got the ramp before Reed or Joe have the chance to get up, because not dealing with that, but coming out on top in this post-match segment following his defeat for a 72. Good segment here from these four, as Reed and Joe maybe a bit distracted with each other heading into the Rumble, leading to them being taken out by Corbin and Austin. Then we have a little promo, speaking of the Rumble, from Rhea Ripley, and she said she lost her Women's Universal title to Shayna Baszler, and she wants it back, to put it simply. She wants that championship gold back, and she says RR stands for Rhea Ripley, but also stands for Royal Rumble, and so she says she's going to the Royal Rumble, and she's going to win the Royal Rumble, go to WrestleMania, and at WrestleMania, she's going to take back what's hers for an 84. Another really good segment here, Rhea Ripley announcing herself for the Royal Rumble, and very much ready for it, you have to say. Before next up, we do have a Smackdown Tag Team Championship match qualifier, as announced earlier. LA Knight and Socrates Torres of the Bullard brand in action together, taking on Paul London and Brian Kendrick, and the Bullard brand getting the win here. Knight and Torres with the victory. LA Knight getting the win over Brian Kendrick after hitting him with the BFT, the blunt force trauma, for a 74. Another really good match. 76 for Torres, the best in the match, doing really well. 62 Knight, 41 London, 49 Kendrick. Very happy with this, as the Fatal 4-Way Spanner Tag Team match at the Royal Rumble now features the Usos, as well as Bullard brand members LA Knight and Socrates Torres. Will Socrates Torres get back that Smackdown Tag title that was taken from him, but with LA Knight at his side? We'll have to find out. But next up, we have a promo from Xavier Woods, the US champion, with Mustafa Ali by his side, and he says that he will be taking no more questions about Big E or Kofi Kingston. He's done with them. Tonight, the focus is on Mustafa Ali. Xavier Woods says that tonight, him and Mustafa are in a Smackdown Tag Team match qualifier, and he says they're going to win at the Royal Rumble. He says that Mustafa will get his moment when him and Ali win the Smackdown Tag Team Gold together for a 72. Another good promo for Xavier Woods. Very good on the mic. All really good promo segments so far from Heyman, Ripley, and Woods. Before next up, we have another match. Asuka taking on No Mercy member Tay Conti. And in the end, Asuka picking up the win by disqualification when Sonya Deville is ordered into the ring to attack Asuka while she has the Asuka lock on Tay Conti, causing the DQ for an 81. 81 Asuka, 52 Conti. Happy with this. Then after the match, Baszler joining in as well as Conti, Deville, and herself attack Asuka and then pose over her. Shayna Baszler holding up that Women's Universal title of hers for an 88. Another really good segment. As Shayna Baszler getting one over on Asuka, heading into that Women's Universal Championship match of theirs at the Royal Rumble. Then we have another promo. Keith Lee interviewed by Caleb Braxton, and Keith Lee says he's heard Paul Heyman's comments, but he says to Paul exactly what he told Thaddeus Bullard last week, and that is that he has dealt with Cameron Grimes, he has dealt with LA Knight, and tonight in the main event he will deal with Apollo Crews. And when all three of them are over and done with, and that all that is left is Thaddeus Bullard, Keith Lee says that he will be coming from Thaddeus Bullard, and like he said, he promises that he will be taking that Universal Championship from him for a 100. The segments tonight, incredible, especially all these promos. Keith Lee, a master on the mic with that 100. Very much ready for that match with Apollo Crews and looking forward to Thaddeus Bullard sometime in the future. Then next up we have that second SmackDown Tag Team title Fatal 4-Way match qualifier. Mustafa Ali and Xavier Woods taking on former champions Leon Ruff and Leon Rush here. But in the end, it is the United States champion Xavier Woods and Mustafa Ali who pick up the win and advance to that Fatal 4-Way match. Mustafa Ali pinning Leon Rush after hitting him with the 054 for a 68, 72 Woods, 46 Ali, 57 Rush, 41 Ruff. Happy with this good match. Ali getting the pin, and him and Woods qualify. So the Usos, the Bullard brand, and Mustafa Ali and Xavier Woods, one spot left. Who will be taking it? We'll find out next week, but looking like a good match so far. Then we have another promo, this time from Roman Reigns, and the Usos are with him, and he says he's proud of them. He says he's pleased with them. They won last week, and now they get a SmackDown Tag Team title match at the Rumble. And he says he knows they're going to do what they got to do, that they're going to come out on top. They're going to win the SmackDown Tag titles come the Royal Rumble. And then Reigns says in the main event, he will win the Royal Rumble match. He will win the Rumble. He will go to WrestleMania. He will get whatever title he damn well pleases over his shoulder. And then when the Bloodline has all the gold, everyone will have no choice but to acknowledge him for another 100. First Keith Lee and now Roman Reigns. The promos tonight have been top notch as Roman Reigns makes the Bloodline's Royal Rumble intentions very, very clear before the main event. Apollo Crews, Bullard brand member, taking on Keith Lee. Keith Lee's beat Grimes, he's beat Knight. Can he get past Crews now and move even closer to Bullard brand leader and Universal Champion Thaddeus Bullard? In the end, Keith Lee gets the win here with the Spirit Bomb for a 90. Another very good match from Keith Lee, main eventing SmackDown, the second of this year in 2 weeks. 88 for Lee, 81 Crews, both men putting on a great match here, but it's Keith Lee who comes down top, and Keith Lee continues picking up wins over the Bullard brand. After the match, Keith Lee getting his arm raised by the ref when he is attacked from behind by Socrates Torres, Cameron Grimes, LA Knight, and Thaddeus Bullard slowly making his way into the ring. The three Bullard brand members beating him down, Crews getting to his feet and joining in the beatdown before they hold a staggering Keith Lee up after the beatdown and after this match with Crews as well. And Thaddeus Bullard hands the Universal title to Paul Heyman briefly before hitting the Bullard boot onto Keith Lee, laying him out. Heyman handing him back the title and leaving the ring as the Bullard brand stand tall, posing over the fallen Keith Lee here for the 85. Really good segment again here. Post-main event, Thaddeus Bullard and the Bullard brand standing tall over Keith Lee when suddenly the lights go out. And when they come back on, Thaddeus Bullard doesn't notice anything different, but he's kind of smiling, but then he looks to his left and he sees Cameron Grimes and LA Knight laid out on the floor. And then he looks to his right and he sees Apollo Crews and Socrates Torres laid out on the floor. And he looks just beyond them to Paul Heyman on the outside, a shocked look on his face. Paul Heyman shouting at him to leave the ring. And Thaddeus Bullard looks like, what the hell's going on? Before he hears the crowd kind of building up. And he stops. And then he slowly looks down to where the fallen Keith Lee was. And laying underneath him is not Keith Lee, but instead the demon Finn Balor. And Finn Balor's eyes shoot open, and Finn Balor goes to work. He kicks up Thaddeus Bullard, winding him, sending him back. Finn Balor getting to his feet, hitting him with the slingshot, before eventually hitting him with the 1916 and then a coup de grace to boot. Finn Balor is back. The Demon is back. Finn Balor not seen since that Halloween Havoc defeat to Thaddeus Bullard, when a Bullard brand all came in to help Bullard retain and take out Finn Balor. But now he is back. He is back as the Demon, and his eyes are still firmly set on Thaddeus Bullard. Thaddeus Bullard now got a Demon to worry about, as well as Keith Lee. A 90 for that post-match segment with the Demon. Really happy with that. Finn Balor is back heading into the Rumble. The Demon has his eyes set on that Universal title of Thaddeus Bullard. Really good episode of SmackDown here. Once again, after the show, another episode of Talking Smack. Kayla Braxton and Paige talking with King Corbin and Ace Austin about them taking out Samoa Joe and Bronson Reed, as well as Xavier Woods and Mustafa Ali. Xavier Woods, talking about his US title. We're not talking about Woods, not talking about Kofi or E, like he said earlier, and mainly focusing on him and Mustafa Ali going to the Rumble and winning the tag titles for a 65. Good post-show Talking Smack here, but overall, this really good episode of SmackDown, I think, with that really good main event and a slew of really good segments, gets an overall rating here of 93. What a show. The 90 main event, multiple 100 rated segments from Roman Reigns and from Keith Lee as well, both masters on the mic, as well as 91s from Paul Heyman, and the 85 and 90 for the post-main event stuff. Increased our pop in 55 regions. Overall rating wise, we are on such a roll at the moment. They are so good heading into the Rumble, just like you'd hope, and I'm really pleased with this, and I hope you have been too. If you've enjoyed this episode, I hope you have a lot of good stuff going on heading into the Rumble, and if you are looking forward to the Rumble, then please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more updates on this series and more TEW 2020 content, and thank you for watching.